Hello and welcome to the Churros Tacticas podcast. It is June 10th, far too delayed for this podcast. Diego was avoiding us for a couple days after that Lamine Yamal disaster class, but we have him here. We have him face to face. It's time to confront Diego about the GOAT coming in and saving football the other day. We got a lot to talk about. Ballon d'Or, Real Madrid, Barcelona, UEFA Nations League. It's all coming right up on Churros y Tácticas. Diego, I thought about you today, not because of the Nations League or anything, but because Dean Howson was presented as a Real Madrid player, and he just looked high as fuck during the whole presentation. I don't know if it was just a Dutch thing or what. What did you see it?
That's his permanent look.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is.
It's a condition. I think it's like lazy eye a little bit, right?
Yeah, I guess. But he also just kind of looked like he was like, yeah, I'm just chilling here. Like, also was the demeanor, the way he carries himself, pretty short answers in the press conference. He's like, he's like the chill guy meme is basically what he is.
So he was asked about that in a podcast that I don't remember which one it was, to be quite frank. But they straight up asked him. They were like, "Dude, are you just 24/7 stoned? Like, were you born and grow up in a coffee shop in Holland somewhere?" And he kind of laughed it off and just said that is his natural look. That because also he kind of has like a shade of redness in his eyes, and that's why I think it's sort of more of a condition. On that occasion, he just laughed it off. Didn't make a big deal out of it, but said that it's his natural look. So, yeah, man, I saw the presentation, or at least saw the announcement of it, and you guys got him. Got your central defender, good defender, good player on the ball.
Did you give him any credit in all your analysis the last couple podcasts you did without me, or was it all about fuck De La Fuente, anti-Barca agenda, benching Pedri, benching Lamine?
Clearly, a lot of it was about that. No, look, I did mention that Dean Howson was the cause for Cristiano to score or be on side to score that ball, So I did point out the flaw there.
Yeah, very fair overall analysis of Dean Howson's 2 games with Spain, for sure.
And, as to why he got chosen, well, not so much Howson. I think he was very solid, as I mentioned in my post-game analysis. But I did mention why Cubarsí was benched, along with several other the key players for Barca. Lenormand was chosen ahead of him. Definitely some head-scratchers. The 3 best players in terms of offense creation for Spain were sitting on the bench when it was crunch time. And also Spain's most prolific, let's call him, penalty kick taker, Oyarzabal, was not in the penalty shootout. So De La Fuente definitely, I think, carries a lot of the blame, yeah. And sorry, I'm referring to Pedri, Lamine Yamal, and Nico, of course, as the 3
Barca players?
No, I didn't say Barca players. I said
okay. I don't know. I just would
most
not
prolific.
Be surprised if you just claim Nico as one of your own, like you guys claim every trophy and every player. So I just wasn't sure.
Excuse me, I think you guys do that more than us. Why would we claim Nico?
Never.
No, never. What, Nico's a Barca player now because you deem him so.
No,
I don't even know. You're putting words in my mouth.
You guys claim him.
What are you talking about? When have we done this? I love
Nico Williams. I love him, but I
think he's a fine player. I've never called him a Barca player. So what are you on about?
I think if you go back
last time I checked, Marca was their portadas were full of Nico Williams is coming to Madrid for sure.
That was stupid as hell. But I think if you go back to the Euros, there you'll find a lot of Barca fans like basically claiming that Nico Williams and Lamine
was going to be.
Yeah, kind of like they treated him like David Villa, like when.
If he ended up like David Villa signing for Barca, then obviously we're gonna claim him as a Barca player. Yeah,
I know, but obviously that didn't happen, so the claim was unfounded. This is my point.
But the claim was never made. Kian, you're starting out petty already. You have got some. You've got a
I have
grin
a
on your
lot of
face.
salt
I
built
haven't
up, bro.
seen.
I have to
I
release the
haven't
salt.
seen this smile on your face all season. On a personal note, I'm happy to see your smile,
Thank you.
and get it off of your chest. I would say you finally have. This is your moment. You can stomp on the 17-year-old and call him a
No,
fraud, like so many are.
no,
So
no.
go,
Of
go.
course not. No, of course not. No, that's clearly not what I enjoy doing or anything. But I am happy for Cristiano. I think it was just great for him to get a trophy and to score 2 goals and to be the top scorer of the Nations League. And I thought that was pretty cool. But I think um, I actually would co-sign. I had questions about Kubarsi. I was confused as to why he didn't play, for example. Um, and I thought maybe it was a fitness issue because to me, he would be. I mean, I wouldn't bench Dean Howson for
Mm,
both bias but also technical reasons. I like the guy and I think he's very solid. But I like that right side was a source of weakness for Spain over 2 games on defense. First it was Pedro Porro, and then I think the decision to bring in Mingueza instead was even worse because Mingueza was just horrendous on defense.
crazy.
And then the half space between where Lenormand was, like right beside him, that was weak too. So I didn't understand the Kubarsi thing. I thought
Yeah.
maybe it was a fitness issue.
Mm.
Um, but
Yeah.
also
And
like, yeah.
go.
Well, just to continue on what you said, I mean, also on defense, like Lamine Yamal was horrendous too on defense,
It
and
was a
also
bad
like
game. Very
I
bad. Yeah.
don't, I don't think like you take issue with him not playing extra time. Like, what did he do to earn continuing
Mm,
to be on the field? Like, he was a
right.
liability in that game.
So
Like, take him off.
I don't know. I calling him a liability, I think, is going a step too far. I think that the entire Spain squad was underwhelming. I think that this was Lamin's worst game that we have seen from him so far this season, or at least I failed to remember a game where he was this apagado, this shut down. What I said before was, why would you take off Spain's three most prolific offensive creators in a moment where you're going into extra time? He took Pedri off at like the hour mark and switched him up for Yeremi Pino. With all respects to Pino, that he's not Pedri. Now we can get into a debate: was Pedri or is Pedri under Luis de la Fuente playing in a position that favors him? He hasn't playing far higher up the field, deeper into the final third of the opponent, as opposed to Flick's position for Pedri, which is much more the build up. And I think clearly we have seen the best side of Pedri under Flick as opposed to De La Fuente, where it's not like he doesn't work hard. I mean, you see him getting substituted, taken off at the hour mark, and he still has that kind of like look on his, like Mesut Ozil used to have that look where they just look gassed, they
Bellingham
look
has
like
it
they've
too.
given everything, right? Um, but yeah,
Ozil actually was gassed. Like that was a problem. Like
mm,
he couldn't play more than 60 minutes. Mourinho talked about this.
Well, I think Ozil was quite known for what he did in post games as well, right? For his nightlife affairs and no, he had. I mean, here he had quite a name to be seen around town in the later nights.
I honestly didn't know that. I know that I
Okay,
think
well,
I've seen pictures of him smoking.
mm, mm,
I
mm.
don't think he ever was he like on Brazilian level. Like
I think he enjoyed hanging out with the Brazilians, but
who
anyway,
who doesn't?
yeah. But for me, it was definitely kind of that head scratcher that to see the likes of Nico, Lamine, and Pedri on the bench, uh, and others like Morata take the field. Now, it might be considered, what's the word, advantageous to shed a light on players like Morata, who I afterwards found out are also in the making of a documentary for Netflix. So it had since been said that this was going to be, and his documentary is a lot about, his mental health issues and his problems and difficulties dealing with the public scrutiny. And so it was almost like that moment was going to be set up where he was going to score a penalty for Spain and lead them to Nations League glory as his final game for the national side as captain in his farewell. Obviously that didn't work out. In fact, it backfired severely because he added another one to his quite impressive record of missed penalties. And I think it stands, I read them out, the statistics yesterday. I'll see if I can pull it up in the meantime, but it's something like at this point 8 in 24 penalties or something. I'll get the exact number in a minute, that he has taken. Things of that nature. And yes, and I do, to circle back to your point of key Barca players not being brought on, with players like Dani Olmo, who have been hugely key, not just for club, but for country as well, have been giving fantastic production performances. Fermin Lopez, who offensively as well works his socks off, generates, whether it's shots from outside the box, these are both goal generating players. It did question, I had to put it in question as to why we finished that game without any of those key players that happen to be Barca players on the field. And I think it was a bad judgment call for Luis de la Fuente. Do I think that he deserves the sack because of it, which is sort of, the trending topic at the moment for the local press here?
That's a pretty crazy discussion. And
I think that's a step too far.
It's his first bad game.
Well, I noticed that you mentioned that Spain is a well-coached team, and it has since left me thinking, really? Is he? Like, we have to put into question his substitutions now more than ever. We saw it against France, where he took
look at his
players like Pedri off.
The Euro final.
Yeah, but hold on.
It made a huge impact.
Let me make my point. Let me make this point, and then you rebuttal. We saw the consequences, the ramifications of his substitutions against France that nearly led to a miracle comeback. It ended 5-4, and we all breathed a sigh of relief. It clearly dampened and hindered Spain to become more offensively present. In fact, we saw a Spain that dropped back deep and allowed Portugal to also be more offensive, be more on the ball. The possession stat dropped drastically. That's not something that goes hand in hand with the Spain side that we have known since 2008, 2010. And my last point, Kiyan, do you think that when his reign ends at Spain, that clubs will come knocking on the door like they did for Luis Enrique?
No.
Meaning Luis Enrique was so heavily criticized, and Luis de la Fuente is not nearly getting half as bad of a press or being chased after like a witch hunt like Luis Enrique did. And look at Lucho now and Luis de la Fuente. So I don't know. I have issue, I guess, with Luis de la Fuente being hailed as a great coach for the Spain side. And I do think, although I don't think it's worthy of a sacking, I do wonder, heading into the World Cup next year with Luis de la Fuente, does it still, seeing these latest moves, is he the best coach for the Spain side? And can he get the best out of these players? And does it put a question mark behind Spain being World Cup champion candidates?
I have zero interest in defending Luis de la Fuente, and I don't want it to seem like I'm here like as his lawyer, like to defend him. I actually actively am rooting against him. I don't like him. Ever since he clapped for Rubiales, I wanted this guy to fail since day one. But I acknowledge that I think he was the best coach in the Euros, and I think he played all of his cards right in the Euros. If we go back to it and we reflect on it, that Spain team was not favored at all to win that tournament, and they ended up being the best team, not just by some fluke, but they were actually the best team. And then you fast forward to the Nations League. It's literally these last two games. They pretty much dominated France until the point of the subs, to your point. To be fair, what were they up? We're like 5-1 at that point?
Yeah.
Come on,
5-1 or 5-2.
If you can't make some subs at 5-1, like I'm sorry.
Mm.
Like no one would have thought, even if you like, it's not like he's subbing on me and you. He's subbing on really, really good players. That entire roster is great. So if you can't get some players in at 5-1 and expect not to win that game, I mean, like, it's understandable that he would have made those subs. To be fair, especially if he's trying to preserve players like Pedri for the final. Like, I get it. I get it. Now, like, I think I also will say, and you know this, that while I thought Spain was coached well in the Euros, I think France are one of the worst coach teams. So are England until they brought in Tuchel. Hopefully that'll change. Um, I just, like, you look at that France team and it's like, why are they playing like? I mean, I enjoy watching Canada more than I enjoy watching France play, and that's not an exaggeration. I love what Jesse Marsh is doing with Canada. Laid the smackdown on Ukraine the other day. France shouldn't be playing so poorly with the talent they have. And then, but on the flip side, with the De La Fuente subs, you have to also acknowledge that France made subs. Ryan Cherokee came in and flipped the game on its head. So all those things happened. But I think I didn't listen to all of your post game podcasts that day, but I don't know where you stand on this. Ultimately, like, somehow 5-4. Like, if you look, I was expecting this is going to be a domination, and 5-4 reflected poorly on the score line. Didn't make sense. But the XG was dead even at like 3-3 for both teams. So in the
Yeah,
end, like, France did
it's
really well to come back and put a lot of pressure on Spain. Spain, even with or without the subs, have defensive issues, and really good teams exploit it. And I think that's also where Portugal deserve a lot of credit. Um, Vitinha is so good. Nuno Mendes is so good. These guys are, Champions League winners. They are just balling out of their minds right now. If you look at, I get your point about where was Dani Olmo. Um, you know, I, I buy the argument that he's better than Jeremy Pino. Alex Baena has been one of the best attacking midfielders in Spain, despite him having a complete hot head. But it's not like he was undeserved of those minutes. Isco has been one of the best midfielders in Spain for a couple years. It's not like his minutes were undeserved. So I don't take that much issue with the subs, to be quite honest. Pedro
uh,
Porro should not have been
can I
benched. Kubarsi
can I
should have
mention
started if he was fit.
can I
I
mention
buy
that
that.
on the Pedro Porro, although he plays on the other side, Alejandro Balde wasn't even called up.
Yeah, that's
Now, with
weird.
all respects to Cucurella, but that's weird.
No, that's weird. Yeah. Cucurella, but to be fair, Cucurella, we had doubts about him too in the Euros, and he was great, right? Like, he surprised us all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't take issue with Cucu being the starter, Cucu and his paella, but for to not even call up Alejandro Balde, it was.
He took Grimaldo instead, right?
Hmm.
To be fair, Grimaldo, I mean, was match fit for the majority of the season, was he not? And Balde missed so much time. You'd
Possibly.
argue if it was healthy the whole season, he probably would have been in the squad.
Hmm.
Is Balde really stopping Ronaldo from dunking on him there? No, he's not. When the GOAT wants to score, he's going to score. On Balde, Cucurella, Maldini, doesn't matter.
Hmm. I don't know, but he could have produced more offensively.
Yeah, that is a valid point, but also I'm not sure if De La Fuente wants him up the field. That's another question. Like, I think that's part of the reason why he chooses Cucurella is because he's probably better defensively. I also saw your comments about Pedri's positioning, which I think is valid, but I think the challenge that he has there is that if he wants Zubimendi and Fabian in deeper positions, then that only leaves Pedri to go in a more advanced role, which is something that he'll have to figure out how to juggle.
Hmm. Where do you think it leaves Spain heading into the World Cup?
Uh, uh, you know what? I was pretty down on Spain. Skepticism started creeping in, but then I saw Pedri post on his Instagram the date of the World Cup final in the USA, and I started to believe again. That gave me
Hmm.
confidence. I think Pedri and Lamine Yamal, they give me confidence. They talk some good shit on Instagram, and all of a sudden I was like, yes, Spain are gonna win the World Cup. I don't know. England
What
and
was the
Portugal.
tweet?
What?
What did they post?
No, Pedri on his Instagram story just put the date of the World Cup final on his Instagram
Ah,
story. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Let's look at some facts. Argentina will be in the World Cup. Obviously, Spain didn't have to face them in the Euros.
Yeah.
England are going to be better. Portugal are going to be better.
Why will
Eh,
England be better?
Well, because they have Thomas Tuchel, and he is like
Ah,
made
Tuchel's there.
for
Yes, of course,
tournaments.
of
He's like
course.
a cup coach, right?
Right. I forgot the Tuchel signing. Yes. Yeah,
France is an
Portugal have
unknown.
been.
It really depends on if France bring in Zidane. I'm putting money on it right now, and I don't gamble. I'll put money on France right now if Zidane comes in.
Is that being talked about? I haven't even
I
seen
don't
that.
think so. No, it's just a fairy tale. But Deschamps can't continue.
Cristiano will make the World Cup.
Yeah, of course. He's got a good
He,
10 years left, bro.
he said that, like he's confirmed that. Yeah.
I mean, does he really need to confirm it? Like he's gonna be there.
Could be very interesting. It's definitely look. The Nations League final was a good humbling for people such as myself. I was looking forward to seeing another Lamine Yamal masterclass. And with that being said, why don't we pass on to that elephant in the room that I think a lot of people would want to hear us talk about. The Ballon d'Oro talks obviously have been hot and heated, trending around the social media sphere. I was looking forward to this final. I had no problem with it being pitched Lamine versus Cristiano. Cristiano came out the victor. I gave Grandpapa a round of applause on the pod, called it well deserved. Another one notch on the belt. And, it's definitely good to see legends in this space continue to triumph, but also to, be like take such good care of themselves. Like it's rare that you see an athlete age so well. And I know that obviously you're very big on his goal scoring streak in the Saudi league. Me, perhaps less so, although admirable. I find it less impressive, in particular because his club has actually worsened since his arrival. They haven't won anything, whereas before they were actually winning trophies. So, but it is
I don't know
admirable
enough
to
about
see.
Saudi league to like dis debate you on that. Like I don't watch to know what the hell is going on. But I do know like if you look at the names in Saudi, like I was looking at like Real Madrid have to play Al Hilal next week,
Mm.
and I was looking at the team. It's like Koulibaly and Milinkovic Savic, and I honestly my mind is blanking, but it was like 10 players from like Europe. I'm like, whoa,
Benzema's there, no? Is he on that?
and another team, but yeah,
Oh,
he's there. Anyways,
well, we'll see. Not that I watch it. This is just stats that get float your way in passing as you scroll the endless feed of social media. He hasn't won trophies with the club. I think that's pretty
yeah, but let's be
easy to
honest.
prove.
Neither you nor I know any context of what the hell is happening in that league to say like what is it like? Is it his fault? Is it some? Is it what's going on? Like, is it the opponents are just better?
Mm,
Is he doing his part? His team's defense sucks. Like I don't know. Check out this
mm.
team that Real Madrid are playing next week. Al Hilal, Mitrovic, João Cancelo, Bonu is their goalkeeper. Ruben Neves, Malcolm Koulibaly, Milinkovic Savic, Renan Lodi is there. This team is
Man, but these are
stacked.
all rejects, though. Like these are just
Uh, would you say? I mean, who was
Lodi,
that?
Malcolm.
Would you say Gabri Vega is a reject? I mean, he's there in the Saudi league somewhere, isn't he? Or is he back in Europe? Oh, he's in Porto. Yeah. Anyways,
He mm.
it's a higher level than the MLS. That's for sure.
I don't know.
Yes, it is,
Yeah,
bro.
more
Come on,
more
look
than
at
the
the team.
MLS.
Yes, for
Do
sure.
you think the organization and the structure really in Saudi Arabia competes and really compares with that of the MLS. The MLS has been trying to professionalize, for so much longer, I feel,
Cool.
than the
Saudi
Saudi
just
league.
has just threw a bunch of money at it in
Yeah,
2 years.
literally,
Yeah, but
literally.
then all of a sudden
But
you
why
have
does that
enough money. All the good players are going there instead.
look? th- I'm happy to take either side of the argument. Like you just mentioned, I have never watched an MLS game, and I have never watched a game of the Saudi league, nor do I plan to do so in the near future. So I don't know where I stand on this one. I'm sure there are people far more knowledgeable about this topic that could actually say definitively or not whether this is the debate, whether the Saudi league is better than the MLS. I had my only issue with that is that the Saudi league is still so new and has been throwing at this project since such a short time that it leads me to think that the MLS is still better in terms of footballing quality than the Saudi league. But I
Strongly
have no.
disagree.
Okay.
Look at this.
Oh,
Did you know that he was Jack? Mesut Ozil is Jack now. Did you know this?
he's nearly Nino Torres jacked.
Yeah,
Did you see Fernando?
I did. I saw Fernando Torres on a airplane, and I almost didn't recognize him. He was on my flight, and I was like, "This guy's jacked." And he was with the entire Atletico youth team. And in person, it's like literally like you're like looking at Jay Cutler or something. Like he's just massive, massive
Insane.
bodybuilder. Yeah,
I didn't know that Ozil was going that route as well. That's impressive.
yeah.
So
Um,
look, I don't know. I honestly, if anybody wants to comment in the comment section, where if you have knowledge about this, then please do share. It would be fun to see Messi and him compete, at their old age in one of those leagues. And I think rumor has it that, or he led us to believe that there might be a slight possibility that they even play together, right? He said it in the in the pregame press conference. He was asked about them playing together, and he said, there's still time to make that happen. And I gotta say as well, he is with age becoming more charming, man. He is,
it's he's just becoming. I think he's just with age comes wisdom.
mm.
During this whole thing, by the way, and after the game too, he's done nothing but defend Lamine Yamal through this whole thing.
Yeah.
I know you've always secretly been in love with him. You just can't admit it publicly. Even when he left Real Madrid, like I saw you started to like say a few things here and there that like it's just stuff that you liked about him and you couldn't say when he was playing for Real Madrid. He's a likable dude.
Look, I'm always gonna respect that. I don't like. I didn't like certain things or his approach to the game at certain moments, during the peak rivalry. I thought that sometimes he definitely came off as petty. I thought that, and that's what I mean now with
during that
age.
era, bro. That was pure emotion. No one's acting rational during that era. Nobody. Not us, not the players, not the coaches. That was just
But I will
pure
also
adrenaline.
say, Kiyan, I will also say, have you seen his documentary? I actually saw his documentary.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, from the documentary, it was kind of clear to me that Cristiano Ronaldo is somebody that has intrinsic, very deep daddy issues, and that I'm not making fun of him. He has a trauma with his father, who was an alcoholic and died at a too early age before he could really see his son blossom. And I think that it affected him so dearly that he missed that love from his father. He missed that fatherly embrace, the hug, the confidence that a father tries to instill in their son or daughter. And I think that became apparent. A lot of things started to make sense. Things that he said publicly, things, also the way Mendes would kind of try to be this father figure to him. And I don't know if he was always a good influence in that regard, but let's just say that a lot of things started to make sense as I watched that documentary. Yeah.
I think this whole conversation was derailed initially because we were literally about to start talking about Lamine Yamal, and that
Yes.
never happened.
Okay, let's go back. Thank you for I digressed, and let's circle back. So the Balón de Oro talk. I think this Nations League was set up for Lamine Yamal to be a in hot pursuit of Ousmane Dembélé for the Balón de Oro. Had Lamine stolen the show and or won the final, I think the debate would have been hotter than ever. I don't know that it would have secured it for him, but I think it would have put him right there in that conversation. With that not being the case, I think that now it's pretty much a done deal for Usman to win the golden ball, the Balón de Oro, because I think what people are going to value more is the Champions League. So those voting, they'll look at the stats are very similar. I posted the pod on Churros y Tácticas on Patreon, and one of the patrons corrected me, said, no, Usman has more goals. And although that's true, I think he has 4 more goals. And this is goals and assists combined, mind you. His Ousmane Dembele's goal production is higher. For me, it's a case looking at that from an individual perspective and say, okay, but who's playing in the more difficult league? Okay, you know what I mean? Like if the Bota de Oro, if we prize players or punish players that play in quote unquote inferior leagues in the run up for the Bota de Oro, you know what I mean? How the score is not the same, right? If you play in one of the big 5 leagues, the goals you score have more weight. I think we should do similar in this case, where we are seeing one player that is at the cusp at the beginning of his career, already taking the world of football by storm, by many deemed as the current best football player in the world, putting up stats that is unheard of, unseen, compared to a player that is fantastic, that has had an incredible season, that has won everything possible with his club, in the last season, and that has put up also very good numbers individually. At the end of the day, I think that Champions League trophy will weigh heavier than Lamine's performance for both individually and collectively for Barca and Spain last season. So, and I think many will look at Lamine and say, he's only 17 or 18 by that time, but he still has his whole career ahead of him. And I think Ousmane will get it, pretty certain.
The argument against, well, it's League 1 is that, well, they won the Champions League. They won the hardest league. So, they did what they were supposed to do in winning everything in France. But then where they're supposed to be measured, they finally won the Champions League. And that's where I think that debate is put to bed, in my opinion, is that, okay, it's League 1 and you want to talk about, it's a poor league or whatever, which I think in some ways it does become disrespectful to League 1, which is a top 5 league. It's a league where a bunch of teams in that league gives a bunch of teams in Europe trouble every year. It's not easy to win that league. I know it's easy relative to what other teams have to do, maybe, but you get what I mean. We can't let it become so disrespectful that it's League 1, it's a shit league. But then they won the Champions
Is
League.
Al Khelaifi on the chat here? Are you receiving? What's happening to my boy
Bro,
Kiyan?
show some love to Brest. It's not an easy league.
What is happening here? Monaco is a good team, but listen, to say that Ligue 1 is not.
I'm just saying it's a top 5 league.
QSG is always going to win.
I know.
It's
okay, but again, it's my argument is that they won the Champions League, and like you keep saying Dembele, which I don't necessarily disagree. To me, I completely agree with Cristiano Ronaldo's words before the game, where he said the Ballon d'Or should be a part of Champions League winner, a Ballon d'Or. Those things go hand in hand. Like that's especially this year because it's the most important club competition in the world, and there's
Mm.
no international tournament this year that competes with it. So, especially this year, the Champions League should be a deciding factor. But I do wonder if we're throwing things like Nations League into it, which I don't know since when did that become a thing. Before Lamine Yamal even talked about Nations League, it was never a prerequisite because if it's based on Nations League, we should give it to the friggin' the goat himself because he's the top scorer in the Nations League.
Mm.
But
Well, it's not only the Nations League; it's an add-on, Kian. You have add-ons. It's not the Champions League alone. It's the Champions League and add-ons. The
okay, what
league,
about the
the
Club World
cup,
Cup?
the Super
Are we going to
Cup.
consider
Oh,
that
yeah,
as an add-on?
also, well, I mean, listen. Again, I don't know how in tune you are with the debates here on radio and TV stations, but trust me that the Madrid press is taking the Club World Cup very serious and continue to throw Mbappe's name into the equation of the Ballon d'Oro. It's huge, and they were like, if France would have won the Nations League plus the Club World Cup, and Mbappe would have been the standout, and it's an add-on. It's an add-on, and I can't deny it. If Dembele or Mbappe, for that matter, having a brilliant tournament in what is it, a week's time? I don't know exactly when it kicks off, but
In 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. Yeah, it's a week.
right. So it cements Dembouz's place for being the front runner to pick up that trophy.
Sorry to say this, and I know I it really doesn't matter what I say, my opinion anyway, because I don't make the decisions and I'm not part of the PR machine. But to me, the case for Lamine and Rafinha is over. It's done. They're not winning the Ballon d'Or. They shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or.
Mm.
It should be a PSG guy.
Mm.
And I actually wonder if PSG win the Club World Cup, why doesn't Vitinha get considered?
Mm.
He won the Nations League. I mean, Nuno Mendes too, by that extension. He won the
Yeah.
Nations League. He won 4 trophies with his club, including the Champions League. He could win the Club World Cup. What? I mean,
Well, it comes down to his numbers as well.
yeah, but
Individual.
he's not supposed to have numbers. He's a
Yeah.
midfielder.
Yeah. But how often, except for Modric and Cannavaro, how often has
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's why a goalkeeper will never win.
Yeah, I think it does. Might sound wild to say, but if Real Madrid win the Club World Cup and Mbappe is the top scorer, he's going to be at least in the conversation.
Well, he already is over here. He is over here already.
I don't think realistically he's not right now. But I think if Real Madrid win the Club World Cup, and he's the top scorer, I think he is in the conversation. You factor in the Golden Shoe, the Pichichi, and a Club World Cup, something.
Yeah, I mean, again, to my strong disagreement, he would be in the conversation, but not a real candidate, though.
No, I don't think it'll come down to him, unless. But that's the thing. Like, again, because you and I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
FIFA are gonna push this Club World Cup like fucking crazy, and they're gonna. 100%. I'm telling you right now, they're gonna start the PR machine, whether they have to pay Twitter accounts under the table to start pushing PR agenda of the Club World Cup winner. Happens every 4 years. It's probably going to have a bigger impact on the Ballon d'Or than we thought, that we ever would have dreamed of like a few months ago.
Definitely, I mean, definitely FIFA the best award.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
At the end, the Ballon d'Oro again are voted. It is voted. The winner is voted by the coaches and captains. Correct?
I can't remember.
No. Ballon d'Oro. Excuse me. Ballon d'Oro is
journalists. No.
Journalists. Yes.
One from each country.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out who has the Canada vote. I have to kidnap him.
You need to get in there.
We have super chats. Any other Lamine Yamal discussion?
No, it's just that I find it funny that it was And when I say so many were waiting for this moment to jump on him, I'm again alluding mainly to local Spanish press here that were just waiting for a moment to get on his, get on his bad side, see him fail. And what I
Media
find,
or fans?
I said media. I'm referring mainly to media.
Because fans for sure.
Yeah. And what I
You know
find,
why?
yeah, obviously I know why.
Why?
Well, because he's a Barca boy and he likes to
Because he
talk
talks a
and
lot of shit, bro. He talks a lot of shit. So if he talks like he's got to be able to you dish it out, you gotta be able to receive it. That's the rule.
sure. But what I what I want to say about this is that a lot of people are like, "Oh, what do you got to say now about Lamine Yamal?" And I'm like, I'm not even like, what am I gonna say about Lamine Yamal? I'm not. First of all, I'm not gonna say anything negative. I'm certainly not gonna criticize him for having a bad game in football and life. You're bound. No, you're guaranteed to fail. Losses are a guarantee in football.
Yeah.
Wins are not, are far and few. So you'll have to excuse me or Lamine Yamal fans to be so excited to see such a young talent explode upon the scene like something we haven't witnessed before and cheer on those triumphs with amazement, with excitement, enthusiasm, and hope for his long career. And with that long career, trust me, he will have more failures than success. Again, that is a guarantee. So, for and I say this because, yeah, obviously it was always in the books that he could lose this final. It was never going to be a guarantee. Now, obviously, I'd hoped for a win and I'd hoped for a much better performance, but I'm not stressed or sweating the fact that he didn't. He still has his whole career ahead of him.
Did you take issue with him not applauding Portugal with the rest of his Spanish teammates?
Did he?
I love that you don't know about this. If it was Vinny, you would have it in your feed algorithm. It would be right there. Yeah,
Show
the
me.
whole
Show
Spanish
me.
team was applauding Portugal lifting the trophy, and he walked off and didn't join the team.
I don't, I don't find that those are good looks at all. No. I want to see it though. I haven't seen it.
I'm pretty sure the Churros y Tácticas podcast posted it on Twitter. I
Okay.
can't, I can't show it here. I think because of copyright reasons, but I'll just send it to you. Anyways, okay. Super chats.
Let's go.
Okay. Pranav Jadhav says Coolers wanted the next Messi, but Yamal's arrogant attitude closer to Ronaldo. Good luck defending the attitude you have criticized for over a decade.
Pranav has been waiting for us to do this podcast, boy. I'll tell you. Pranav, thank you for your generous donation.
Classic Diego response. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Make sure you hit me up on D-Spot, all right? Kiyan is very stingy when it comes to these super chats. It doesn't trickle down.
You have to earmark your super chats to Diego. Nishlish Patel says, is Cristiano now allowed to enter the U.S.? I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, shit. That's right.
I don't know the answer to that question. And that's my honest answer. I don't know.
That's a good point, though. That is a good point. Is because last time I checked, he wasn't. He was banned, or he was either banned or there was the arrest out for him, right?
I don't know what the latest is on this. Don't know. Nimerium says, I hope Portugal gives the keys to Mourinho for the World Cup 2026. I'd love to see that. I think Roberto Martinez is an upgrade over Fernando Santos, but I think he's not also the best possible choice.
The Mo train is still fully packed. Like, Nima, my other Persian friend,
Inter.
the Inter
Yeah.
journalist. So he was fully on the Mo wagon, for Mourinho to come back to Inter this summer. And now seeing this as well, Portugal. Like, why would Roberto get the sack? Bobby Boy's been doing a great job with this Portugal, and instead get a loose cannon. And what are you getting in Mourinho if you're bringing him now? I'm flabbergasted by these calls for Mo, to be honest.
Well, Roberto Martinez just, I mean, signed on, so he's not gonna go anywhere before the club, before the World Cup anyway. But
No, no, of
yeah,
course. But I'm saying, like, Mo, in my eyes right now, wouldn't be an upgrade.
I think it's one of those things where it was always expected that Mourinho would end his career in Portugal. Like this goes back like a decade, maybe more than a decade, that he would end his career with Portugal, and I think that's part of it.
Hmm. You still could.
Yeah, of course.
Hmm.
Pranav Jadhav is back to say, "Are we skipping Kuller's abandoned Rafinha for Lamine Yamal?" Yeah, how come
No,
where happened to Rafinha's PR? You
well,
guys
he's not playing the
just
Nations
cast him
League.
aside. We don't want you. We're not going to talk about you anymore.
Rafinha's on holiday. It's like, we have short attention spans, Kiyan. It's all
He's
recency bias.
he's on the Brazil bench right now.
He's on the bench.
Ancelotti didn't play him, I don't think. I'm gonna watch I think Brazil played tonight, I think. Um
The savior for, oh my god, the Cariña.
oh I
Argentina's
think
gonna
no,
rule.
I think he was on vacation because he's not even on the bench, which so
Okay.
yeah. So it's not so please I apologize. It sounded like I said Ancelotti came in and just axed Rafinha. That's just not what happened at all.
Making a name for himself.
No, but you said savior. I have said this, and I hate kind of like just continually talking poorly about Ancelotti because I just want his legacy to be preserved and I want to respect it as much as possible. But I strongly don't believe that he's the guy who's going to save Brazil.
No.
Does that mean we're done?
Imagine. Well, I think Pep, his dream or on his bucket list is still to coach a national side. Obviously, he's been linked with the Brazil job for quite some years, and the England job for that matter. But seeing Tuchel is there, I know Ancelotti's only just gotten started, but I'm just talking in a hypothetical future. Although the rivalry between Mo and Pep is certainly watered down over the years, and as they coincided in Manchester, Portugal with Mo against the Brazil with Pep will be would at least allow those journalists, say Guillaume Balaguer, to write another chapter on Pep and Mo, or Mo and Pep, and their ongoing rivalry. Will be quite nice. And I would love to see Cristiano and Messi have one more last dance in whichever league is better. I think is the MLS, but maybe it is Saudi. I don't know. But
No, I mean I think
that
if I
little
had to pray
smirk.
for one thing, Diego, and I know you're a
Mm,
Spain and Dutch fan, so this doesn't suit you necessarily, but I think there would be no greater spectacle from a rating standpoint to have an Argentina Portugal final in the World Cup.
mm,
I mean, that would be
mm, mm.
the whole world would literally stop what they were doing to watch that.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
It would be like the ultimate fair or not fair. It would be the ultimate like GOAT decider. I mean, to me, it's already decided, but
Of course, we
people
agree.
are arguing about it. So,
Right.
I, I wanted to say, oh yeah, Pep and Moo. You know that thing that they do, that show where they hash out the NBA players hash out old beef, like they had that Kobe and Shaq sit down.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Yes, yes.
How cool would it be to have a Pep and Mourinho conversation? That would be so cool.
I can't see that going flawlessly, though. I could imagine it get chippy.
I
It
don't
wouldn't
know.
be like a Cristiano Messi conversation. That would go softer. I feel like
That would be civil. I don't think
that
Cristiano
wouldn't
and
have
Messi actually.
animosity.
I don't think
No,
Cristiano and Messi actually have any animosity towards each other at
no.
all. But I think, I mean, their fans hate each other. Uh, but I think Mourinho and Pep, I don't think they would actually be ill feelings. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I guess to me it always seemed like this is it's just understood that during that era, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, you just can't be friends. But then when all is said and done, in the end, like everyone's just kind of there doing their job. There's got to be like some understanding that there's an underlying respect. There has to be, right?
That's true. Actually, Piqué and Casillas has a podcast now, and
I
2 weeks ago, Piqué was a guest.
Casillas needs to put that guy in his place, man. He's way too nice. He just lets PK talk whatever bullshit he wants. Casillas, we need to swap Casillas out for Guti or someone. Like,
Man, fucking Guti. I take issue with that guy again. You know what
did
he
you see what he
said?
said about the hat?
Yeah, the hat
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that was too far. Especially coming from Guti, who himself was one of the most,
Like
from a style
extrovert.
perspective, didn't give a
Yeah,
fuck at all.
didn't give a shit. Yeah. So listen, before we wrap things up, I did want to get your take quickly on the young. Of course, Madrid had to go out and get their 17-year-old kid. So I know nothing about him. What can you say? I think it's official, no? I mean, I'm just looking at the papers. They're not. Fabrizio Romano said it was. Here we go. So
Mastantuono, you're talking about, right?
yes, Masantuono.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the most promising kids coming out of Argentina right now. One of our podcast hosts, Leah, her husband is a huge River fan, Argentinian guy, is devastated to see him leave, but he knew it was inevitable. And he's just very promising guy who can play on the wing, can kind of play central. He's very attacking oriented, has a lot of flair. It's exciting.
Is he the shit though? Is he that dude? Like from what
I
you
don't know,
know
man.
and see?
I don't know because
Yeah.
with all these players that Real Madrid signed from South America, you don't really know until you see it.
Mm.
So with Vinny, Rodrigo, Endrick, Rainier,
Yeah.
Fede, all these guys, like they can go one way, they can go the other way. I don't know. We just know that he is very exciting, and
Sure.
Juni Calafat wanted him, and PSG really wanted him. So then Real Madrid sent Juni Calafat to negotiate with River and get it done. So.
Okay. Well,
But I
we'll
also
wait and
don't
see.
know, like we have a lot of players right now in that position because he kind of occupies the Goulet, Brahim,
Of course.
Jude, Rodrigo,
Rodrigo, yeah.
even Nico Paz role.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of players in that position. Not that Nico Paz is coming back for sure, but he's someone we can call back. But we have more questions than answers under Xabi Alonso right now. I did you see the meme where Xabi Alonso was sitting in the room with the laptops and there's like lineups and there's like they're working on tactics and talking about tactics, and the meme was Real Madrid fans didn't know that tactics room existed. I thought of you. I was like, this is hilarious. It's like these last 2 days, Diego, these training clips with Xabi Alonso, everyone's like having orgasms over it. And they're just like totally normal training clips, but Xabi is like pointing and screaming, and he's playing with the team. He's juggling. He's doing these passing drills, and
He still
everyone's
looks
like,
in shape. Yeah.
tactics.
I miss Angelotti already. Come back, Carleto. Where are you? Brazil's not safe. So, what about? Do you have anything to say about Barca signing Espanyol's goalkeeper Joan Garcia? Obviously, not official yet, but they said it is being said that the ink is on the paper today. The T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted. So we're pending. We're awaiting official confirmation. Joan Garcia, the Espanyol goalkeeper, making a move across town to the enemies and putting, of course, also a hot potato on the table because he's signing on, as the papers are reporting, to become the first goalkeeper, the starting goalkeeper. So where does that leave the other, I think it's the third or fourth elephant in the room on this podcast, but what happens with Marc-André ter Stegen, the team captain, the goalkeeper since the past 11 seasons or so? I don't have the answer to that, but it's definitely an interesting and one to debate. We'll see how ter Stegen handles it. It looks like it's also guaranteed that Szczesny will sign on for at least another season. At least the offer is on the table. It's up to his wife to decide whether he should retire again or not. So we'll see what happens there. But I'll tell you right now, ter Stegen is not in the mood, or he'll certainly won't accept to be the backup goalkeeper. So we'll see.
I saw a lot of Real Madrid fans wanting to sign him
Yeah,
as like
he
a
was in.
succession plan for Courtois, which is really difficult to do, because unless you can loan him out, for a couple years until Courtois retires or something, it's difficult to do. But I guess Barca are in that same position now, unless ter Stegen leaves. So R.I.P. Iñaki Peña, he's gone?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that RIP was sealed when, Flick was like, you're coming off, son. Szczesny and goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
ter
it. I
Stegen
mean,
is one of the most interesting kind of question marks this summer, to be honest.
Yeah, it is for sure. That, and of course, who we can get on the left. Can we get a Marcus Rashford on loan? Can we get a Luis Diaz, for an affordable price? I doubt it, with Liverpool standing in the way. But I think a Marcus Rashford right now, I've spoken about it on D-Spot several times now. That is sort of, he's in my top pick at the moment, given quality and also quality, price, and not stirring up the harmony that currently exists within the Barca dressing room. So, yeah, I don't know if Luis Diaz would be the best fit. And also, handing over 80-something million, it's like, can we not do something else with that? Yeah.
I think Luis Diaz is a better player than Marcus Rashford.
Sure, of course.
But I also think like Marcus Rashford would maybe be more accepting of a backup role to Rafinha.
That's it. That's exactly it.
If you want a squad player who can fill in on the left wing, then he might be a better option.
Yeah.
Is it a loan move that's being discussed? Not a permanent transfer?
Yeah. So initially, United, again, this is what the papers are reporting, were not entertaining another loan move. Obviously, he's been at Villa this season, but now it looks like, because of Rashford's insistence, or persistence, I should say, they're more inclined or more open to have that kind of discussion. We'll see. No, look, in terms of Luis Diaz being a better player, I think that's pretty much a given. That's not a massive hot take. It's just, my worry is, even if you put the money aside, as you just mentioned, will he accept being a backup player? How will it affect Rafinha? We know what happened last summer with the whole Nico Williams talk, and how Rafinha in the end used that as motivation, but not before he had a talk with Hansi Flick, because he had one foot at the door at that point as well. So yeah, we'll see.
We have a super chat at the buzzer here. Anthony says, we put too much weight into the Ballon d'Or. It defies the purity of the best team sport in the world. Yes, I know I'm in the minority here.
No, I don't think you are, Anthony. I think you're right. It's just that, in the absence of football, or even, throughout the season, it's become just such a talking point that you either ignore it and don't entertain it whatsoever, and never ever do, And I think that's very hard to do given all of the fanfare and the spectacle and entertainment surrounding this Balón de Oro talk and ceremony gala every single year. Or you just kind of, I guess, partake, even if it is somewhat reluctantly, because I do, I fully agree with Anthony here and what he says. Um, Football's a team sport. It's very hard to prize one individual player each and every single season, especially if the criteria change on a season to season basis. It's not like these are the 10 commandments on what we're going to judge the best football player of the season on. So, and that makes it very hard and frustrating. But we're here creating content. It gives us something to talk about, and you guys to give generous donations in the end for. So thank you, Anthony Tharp. Make sure you subscribe to Despot. Head on over. We're streaming live right now.
I think it's become. It wasn't like this when we were kids, and but I think that's because there wasn't social media back then. So the dialogue and the discourse and the cycle of conversation was just so different. Not as heated. It was more mainstream of like we would listen and read, but we didn't have platforms to debate and argue about it apart from our friends in real life. It's just totally different now. Everyone's constantly online. Everyone needs to constantly argue about something. And this is the argument of today.
Yeah,
There's just so many people there's just, I've never experienced this in my life where like every day you wake up and it's just people arguing.
for sure.
It's
For
always
sure.
just people arguing.
For
It's
sure. It is the
crazy.
times.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the
I
part
mean,
of social media that's not great.
100%. The toxicity reaches boiling point with these kind of topics as well. And yeah, and everything you just said is 100% true. It used to just be, the papers printing out really the player receiving the Balón de Oro, which wasn't even in gala form in the 90s. I remember just seeing Rivaldo pop up in the cover of Sport with the Balón de Oro or Figo. And that was that. It's like, okay, now get on with it. Romario.
Yeah, but bro, even during the Ronaldo Messi era, it wasn't like this. I could have sworn, unless maybe I was just so detached from the online reality, but I honestly don't remember. I think in the last couple years, especially last year with Vinny and Rodri, and then this year, it's just been pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And this
Yeah,
NBA too. Like you look at like people argue about Jokic and Giannis and SGA. Like it's I don't know. I think just everyone's just online. Everyone's anonymous. Everyone's really comfortable typing stuff, and I think that's part of the reason.
of course.
So
The platforms have increased, and that's, yeah, everyone has
we
a
need
voice
more.
now.
We need more people with balls who can get behind a camera and a microphone like me and you.
Hmm.
Put your damn name and face to your comment. Let's see what you say then. We don't
Put
have
your
enough of those
balls
people.
in front of a camera, is what you're saying.
Yeah, whip your balls out.
Well, you can see our balls on patreon.com/churros
That's right.
y tácticas. Especially if you pay that highest tier, you'll get to see them nice up close and personal. For those of you that are patrons, thank you for supporting us independent football content creators. And, I've addressed one or two of you that have DM'd me with regards to the tier changes. I want to hope that everything is more or less understood. And once 2 more days, and I will get a chance to edit those tiers or make the adjustments rather to suit and fit everybody's needs. But yeah, for those of you who haven't become a Patreon yet, what better way to advertise that pod than seeing our beautiful balls at full display on patreon.com/churros y tácticas. Get on this. Get on.
Do it up. We'll see you guys there. Every week we do a podcast just for our patrons, and we typically answer we answer every question that comes in. We leave no question unanswered, and the questions are great. They get us really really debating on, and there's a lot of thought provoking questions that I think come in on Patreon, and we have a lot of fun
It's
answering them.
homework.
So if you want to
We
be a
got a
part
lot
of
of
that,
homework. Yeah.
be a part of that. Go to patreon.com/churros y tacticas. Diego, good catching up with you, buddy. We'll see you on the
Likewise, my
Patreon
friend.
edition later.
Sounds
Take it
good.
easy.
Thursday. Peace.